Hi everyone, my name is Johan Stocking. I am tech lead of the Things Network, and in this video I'm going to show you the HTTP integration. The HTTP integration is one of the most powerful features that we've released over the past few months. It allows you to send all your payloads to a custom endpoint, and you can also send data back over HTTP that will be scheduled to your node to send as downlink message. And it's really convenient to use the HTTP integration because you don't have to set up a continuous process that connects over MQTT, for example. You can also use a storage integration, but that is more to get chunks of historic data. But the HTTP integration is a really fast push-based integration that works with any HTTP endpoint. So the way this works is as follows. So you go to your application in the Things Network console, go to Integrations, and click the Add Integration button. Here you select the HTTP integration, and you have to enter a process ID here. And this is just a unique identifier that identifies this particular endpoint, just for you to remember, because you can add multiple HTTP integrations at the same time. You also need to select an access key, and this is a security key, and it's recommended to use a different access key for different integrations. For this demo, I'm just going to use the default key, and here you can set your URL, and this can be anything. And for this demo, I'm going to use one of the free public services where you can post data to, so for you to view it easily in the browser. And one of those services is RequestBin. So RequestBin is the URL is requestb.in, and if you click this button to create a new request bin, you get a new URL that you can use to send data to. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here in the URL field, and I'm going to use post, but you can also use put or get or whatever your endpoint accepts. Then I'm going to click the Add Integration button, and from now on all data that comes is delivered for your application will also be put and sent over HTTP to this particular endpoint. So if I go now to data and clear the log and send some test data, so I'm going to push the button of the Things node to send data. You see some data appearing here, and these should be sent now to RequestBin. So if I go there and refresh this page, you see all the requests now coming in. So we have a couple of requests for each message, and the body of these requests is the JSON format, and this is the same JSON format as we use for the MQTT broker. You find here the application ID, the device ID, so the identifier of this particular device, the hardware serial, the payload, but also the payload fields. So this is actually the information that you're probably, as an application developer, you're interested in. Also, we send metadata about the time and the gateways that receive the message. And what is also very interesting is this downlink URL. And this is a URL that you can use to schedule data to send back as downlink to your device. So let's use this URL to send a test message back to your device. So I'm just going to use curl. It's a very easy tool to make HTTP calls, and set the method to post. The data is in JSON format. I will show the documentation in a minute. And it needs to contain at least two fields. That is the device ID, so in this case node, and the payload. It can be payload raw to send base64 raw payload, or payload fields, and those will be is also a JSON object that will be encoded through the encoder payload function to a binary format and then sent to your device. It's more about this in the payload functions video. So payload raw, and I'm gonna set it to 2 bytes, 1, which in base 64 is this value. It doesn't really matter what you send, and then send it to this URL. So when you do that, you see here in the console that there is downlink scheduled. So this is the raw payload that is scheduled. And now the next time the node sends a message, we have an opportunity to send the data. So we keep it in our network waiting for the device to open the opportunity to send data back. So I can press the button or move the device, and then you see here that we actually send the data. So this is the HTTP integration. You can fully customize it on your application side, and it's a very scalable and easy to use integration to integrate your application with the Things network. So if you want to see the exact format of the HTTP integration, you can go to the integrations overview, click HTTP integration, and press this button, documentation. And this brings you to the Things network documentation, where you can find a lot of information about the Things network, but also about the format of the HTTP integration. So here you see exactly the JSON format that we send for uplink messages. And if you scroll down, you also see how you send data back, as well as the different ways to send data back. So what I use in my example is sending raw payloads, but you can also send the payload fields that will be encoded using the encoder payload functions.